Hello friends, it's Jessica. Welcome back to Jessie Kate Creates. In today's video, I am sharing my take on the April 2023 Sheetload of Cards from CallMeCraftyAl. I know I'm a little bit late with this one, guys, but if you're not familiar, Sheetload of Cards is by CallMeCraftyAl here on YouTube. Every month she releases a card sketch and she lets you know the supplies that you need, how many cards you're going to yield, your cutting dimensions, and she also gives you the cutting guides to make your set of cards. So it makes card making really easy, and it is a great way to use up pattern paper if you have a lot of it in your stash that you're trying to work through. That's how I usually like to use these. So for April 2023, it yields 6 cards, although I'll show you in a second, I actually got 8 cards from this sketch. So first, before I show you the cards, I want to show you the pattern paper I used really quick. I used this Echo Park 6x6 paper pad called Dino Friends. I like to store my 6x6 pads in these zip top quart-size storage bags, and I also keep all of my scraps in there. And you can see for this paper pad, I had a bunch of scraps that I could use up, and these mostly measured about 1 inch by 6 inches, so they were perfect for this sheet load. And because I was using scraps, I was able to get 8 cards instead of the 6 cards that the sheet load calls for. So that's the papers that I used. And for the focal images on these cards, I opted to use these really cute dinosaur sticker cutouts from the Dollar Tree. I was making these cards for a donation, so I was trying to save myself a little bit of time. Instead of having to cut and color my own images, I just went ahead and used this. So if you have ephemera you need to use up in your stash, Sheetload is great for that as well. Okay, so I was making birthday cards, so I opted to use just a simple happy birthday sentiment. I don't know the name of this stamp set, but if I can find it, I will link it in the description box down below. Okay, so let's get into the cards that I made. So like I said, I stuck very closely to the sketch on these cards. As you can see here, I have my 2 pieces of pattern paper, my little sentiment, and my cute little dino. And then for the inside of the card, I just used a scrap of pattern paper. Now, one of the things I like about using ephemera on my cards is that it makes every card a little bit different. No 2 cards are going to be exactly the same, and sometimes I really like that when I'm making a set of cards, that each card still has a little bit of variety and each card is still a little bit different. Now for these cards, I was also trying to encourage myself to use some of my colored card stocks. I tend to, when I make cards, I use white card bases. Maybe I'll use a craft or a black or a cream card base occasionally, but I'm trying to use up more of my colorful card bases in my card making. So you can see here for these ones, I use some reds, some greens, and some blue. And because these cards do have quite a wide border where the card base shows, I thought that was a good opportunity to add a little bit more, I don't know, just a little something extra, a little bit more interest to the card. So I pulled in this Hexagon print background stamp from Fun Stamper's Journey and just used that directly on the card bases just to give a little bit more interest in the background. Yeah, and I like the way that that turned out, and you could of course do that with any background stamp that you have. You might also notice for these cards that I changed up the colors I used for the sentiments. For some of them I used green, for some I used red or yellow. I just picked whatever I thought worked best with the images on the card. This one might be one of my favorites. I think that dino popping out of the egg is just so absolutely adorable. Okay. Now for some of the cards, I did turn the sketch on its side if I thought the image that I was using fit better that way. And for this card, you'll also notice I made a boo-boo when I was cutting my paper, so it messed up the edge of one of my cards. So instead of trying to hide it, I just leaned into it and used a pair of scissors to distress the edges of all the pattern paper. I hope you can see that, to make it look like it was intentional, and instead of making it stand out like a mistake. And I like the way that worked out really well. All right, this one might be one of my favorites. I think just the bright greens and yellows and all the colors, it just looks so adorable and so cute. And we have this guy, and you'll notice the background on the blue cards doesn't stand out as much as it does on the green and the red. I could have probably used a darker shade of blue ink, but when it dried back, it got really light. But I think it works. I think these cards still look really cute, and I'm still really happy with how they turned out. And like I said, because I was using pieces of scrap paper, I actually had enough scraps that I was able to make 8 cards instead of the 6 that the sheet load called for. So that's another great way to use sheet load, is to use up those scraps that you have. So there you have it, guys. These are the 8 cards that I made using the April 2023 sheet load of cards from CallMeCraftyAl. Let me know in the comments, do you guys make sheet loads every month with CallMeCraftyAl's sheet loads? I really love them, especially for projects like this when I need to make a lot of cards to donate. I think they're just absolutely perfect for that. So these were the cards I made this month. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't checked out CallMeCraftyAl sheet load of cards, I will have it linked in the description box below, so you can give it a try and use up some of the pattern papers that I know, like me, you all have in your stash. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!